Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Danielle, aka Stitcherista, here on YouTube, and today is Thursday. I'm pretty sure it's January 6th. And yeah, so the hair is straight today. Straight is easier. And I was just out of time and just didn't feel like sectioning and curling and doing all of that. I have a hair appointment to get my hair, get the roots done on Saturday, so looking forward to that. And probably get a little trim, So we have lots to talk about because, it's amazing what can happen in an afternoon, right? So, work. I now know, all of these true crime stories that I did, I would be like, oh my God, I don't know how this person murdered this person. Now I fucking know. I know how someone commits murder. Because I'm telling you, yesterday at the end of the day, when someone on my team did something that they have done 3,000 times, I literally, in that 2 seconds, wanted to murder them. Seriously. So we got through to the lunch break. Remember, I did the video on the lunch break and everything was going fine. We come back from the lunch break. One of our team members gets kicked out of the file. And then when she gets back in, she doesn't have audio. So for about, I want to say 3 hours, it was only 3 of us. So when it's only 3 of us during this arbitration, we don't get a break. Don't get a fucking break. And then at the end of the day, so here is where the real, I want to kill somebody started. So when it gets to be the end of the day, I just want to get the fucking thing done because I am like a half hour past editing because I have to spell check. I have to check pins. I have to do things, send the rough draft. I have to do things past the end of the job. So when the job ends, I want to get the fucking editing done because then I can get done. So we have a team member that tends to be slower than other team members. And I'm not disparaging or criticizing. People just work how they work. But I'm cognizant of this. So when it gets to be the end of the day, and this person had the last unit from page 300 to 310. I could tell where she was in the section because you can see everybody's ID on the screen. So I knew she was at page 302 when they ended. Okay, I'm going to take it. I'm going to have administrative control and I'm going to say, I said, we're going to call her Susie. Susie, I'm going to take page 305 to 310. So when you get to 305, you can stop and sign out for the day. So she only had 3 pages left. And I knew that if I did the 5 pages, I would probably almost be at the same time ending. Now, I foresaw messiness because the proofreader that just makes me crazy, we're going to call her Janet. Janet had section 300 to 310 to proof. And if you've listened to all of my videos or some of them as we have gone through this arbitration, you will know that it has happened probably no less than 10 times that when we get to the end of the day and I say they're done, Janet seems to conveniently forget to proof her last section. And this has happened so many times that now I have to keep track. And at the end of the day, I'm looking to see where we are and who has what. So I had put in our group message, Janet. Now, Susie got done editing page 300 to 305. Before I was done 305 to 310. I was on page 307. So I said in the message, Janet, because it's the end of the day, you can start proofing 300 to 305 because I'm probably going to be done 305 to 310 by the time you get done to that, right? I just want to get this fucking day done. Crickets. I get no response. I don't see anything. I see her in the file. It looks like she's spell checking. Why are you fucking spell checking the file when I'm the only one that does it? So I also addressed that this morning with the team and I said, nobody else needs to spell check because I do it at the end of the day routinely before I send the rough draft. Meaning, don't fucking spell check because you can make corrections that I don't want to be made in the file. So I'm still editing. So I'm going through. I am literally done editing pages 305 to 310 for like 10 seconds. And Janet says, oh, I'm done. And I hurry up and type because what she'll do is she'll say that, and without waiting for confirmation, she will exit out of the file. We've had that happen. We've had that happen numerous times. So I hurry up and type, how are you done? And in another message, I say, because I just got done editing 305 to 310, and that's your section. And I don't see that you proofread 300 to 305. And what's funny is, like, another one of our team members privately messaged me and said, oh my God, I can hear your brain. Like, I literally in that moment wanted to murder Janet. Like, I get it now. And she's like, oh, I must have misread your message. Bitch, how do you misread? You can start proofing 300 to 305. How do you misread that? I was just like, oh my God. So I talked to my boss this morning before the job started, and I was telling her that. Not to mention, did I tell you that Janet, I don't think I told you guys. So luckily Janet does not work with us all the time because I fucking can't with it, right? Our pay is done through Venmo, and I have my boss's login, so I pay everybody every Thursday. I require, or I ask everyone, get me your invoices, get me all of your pay requests by Wednesday so I can go in Thursday morning and just go do and pay everybody at once, and I'm not chasing you to get fucking paid. I never understand that. Why am I chasing you for your invoice? Don't you want to get fucking paid? And I do that because Venmo has weekly limits. And when we have this arbitration, we hit those limits every single week. So if I don't pay somebody like for 2 hours past everybody else, well, that means next week I got to wait to pay them the fucking 2 hours past everybody else, if you understand. So Janet messages me and says, instead of requesting the amount for my invoice this week, I paid our boss the amount. What? You did what? Okay. So now I have to go into Venmo and try to figure out how to refund this, which I couldn't figure it out. I just had to pay her back the amount of money because it was sitting in my boss's account, like a PayPal balance kind of thing. And I'm just like, how do you run your day-to-day life? How do you conduct your day-to-day life? Because no. So today, thankfully, has gone very well. I hope I'm putting it out into the universe. Please let the rest of the day go well, because I'm off tomorrow. Just fucking get me through today, because after this, we don't have the arbitration until January 19th. 19th and 20th that week. And as of right now, we only have one day on the calendar next week, Friday. I have a mammogram next Friday at 8 a.m. So yeah, okay. All right. Let's also talk about, I had mentioned in, I think it was yesterday's video about, how I don't compare myself to other channels. There are other channels in the community that are much larger than me, that started after me. It is what it is. And one of my subscribers who comments all the time said they like that I'm not a huge channel because I still respond to everyone. I get that. I completely get that. I still respond. I still heart every comment. I respond to, if you ask me a question, I really do try to respond. I respond to every email and direct message and things like that. So I totally get that. All right, so I'm going to say something here, and I'm going to try to say it in not an asshole way. I have had a handful of people comment when I decide to either restart a project or stop a project oh, I'll take your project, I'll take the unfinished portion, or, oh, you should really give that to someone. Why? Why should I give it to someone? What I normally do? First of all, I've come to have a new appreciation for projects like that. I don't feel like that time is wasted. Now, some of you may think, wow, I devoted so much time to Phoenix, but I treated it as a learning lesson, meaning I found out that I really want to stitch those on 18 count with 2 threads. So to me, that wasn't wasted. And why in the hell should I feel obligated to ask if someone wants that project? You know what I did? I cut the fucking thing, the stitching off, and I'm using the fabric for something else. I mean, and someone said about the modern fruits, the fruit of plenty. You remember I had stitched a square of it. I only stitched 1 square of it, I'm pretty sure. Again, I'm just going to cut that off. Whenever I watch Floss Tube, I never, ever, ever, when someone stops a project, think to myself, oh, they should give that away. What? I don't understand it. I don't get it. Okay. So let's talk about Fruit of Plenty, because boy, were there some developments yesterday. So remember I had said I was going to restart it using the variegated, it's called Peacock Plume from Sulky with black on the vanilla latte. So I stitched during a short break and got done some of the black, and I had my Michael Jackson needle minder on there. When I lifted up the needle minder to move it, the magnet had put a giant black mark on my fabric. I'm telling you, my face, I would have loved to have seen my face, because it had to have been just like shock, disbelief, horror. Like it had to have been, I don't know what. I said, Jesus fucking Christ. So I take the fabric off and I try to wash it. Nope, it's not coming out. And I'm like, somebody doesn't want me to stitch this fucking project. What is that? And I almost was going to turn the camera on and be like, fuck it, I'm abandoning this project. I'm not doing it. This is just too much taxing of something that needs to be enjoyable. So I let it sit for, first of all, I cut off that piece because I only had like a tiny piece. I cut off the piece. I'm going to use the fabric because I had a large piece of fabric. And then I decided to go through the Instagram tag again and look at the different color combinations. And I see someone has stitched black and like magenta, and it looked amazing. And I'm like, no, God damn it. I am going to stitch this project. I have restarted this thing like 4 fucking times. So I decided, and I stitched a bunch again last night. I have a new color combination and a new fabric and everything. So the fabric is 18 count Aida, hand-dyed fabrics by Stephanie in Jello Shots. Oh, right? So it's like a yellow, you can see the different green in it, right? So it's like yellow and green. And the Sulky threads I'm using are black. And this is 0192. It's this beautiful magenta color. So far, I am liking it very much. 1 strand over 1 fabric thread. And I think it's going to look fantastic. It's going to be different than what most people have been doing, because I told my husband, I said, most people are stitching theirs on like white fabric. So this fabric is gorgeous. I absolutely, and yes, a hissing cat, because yeah, that's my mood. And so I'm like, be careful with your needle minders. Make sure the back of the magnet doesn't have crap on it. But yeah, isn't it looking so good? It's looking good. So I'm very pleased with that, but I'm tired of stitching the same thing over and over. And I stayed up really late to get that done. Believe it or not, that took me a couple of hours. Again, watching more of Sopranos season 6. So I will be progressing on that. I will definitely be stitching tonight. Okay, so today, I was going to do true crime, but you know, I'm going to do a true crime story tomorrow because I'm actually really, really hungry. And I just need to I'm going to do an inspirational story. Okay, so today's story is the story of an unexpected angel. So friends are God's way of taking care of us. So this story comes from a hospice physician of Metro Denver. And, you know, hospice people, man, do they see a lot of stuff, right? So he said, I just had one of the most amazing experiences of my life, and I wanted to share it with my family and friends. I was driving home from a meeting this evening about 5, stuck in traffic on Colorado Boulevard, and the car started to choke and splutter and die. Oh, God. I barely managed to coast, cursing, into a gas station, glad only that I would not be blocking traffic and would have a somewhat warm spot to wait for the tow truck. The car wouldn't even turn over. Before I could make the call, I saw a woman walking out of the Quickie Mart building, and it looked like she slipped on some ice and fell into a gas pump, so I got out to see if she was okay. When I got there, it looked more like she had been overcome by sobs than that she had fallen. She was a young woman who looked really haggard with dark circles under her eyes. She dropped something as I helped her up, and I picked it up to give it to her. It was a nickel. At that moment, everything came into focus for me. The crying woman, the ancient Suburban crammed full of stuff with 3 kids in the back, 1 in a car seat, and the gas pump reading $4.95. I asked her if she was okay and if she needed help, and she just kept saying, I don't want my kids to see me crying, so we stood on the other side of the pump from her car. She said she was driving to California and that things were very hard for her right now. So I asked, and you were praying. That made her back away from me a little, but I assured her I was not a crazy person and said, he heard you and he sent me. I took out my card and swiped it through the card reader on the pump so she could fill up her car completely. And while it was fueling, walked to the next door McDonald's and bought 2 big bags of food, some gift certificates for more, and a big cup of coffee. She gave the food to the kids in the car who attacked it like wolves, and we stood by the pump eating fries and talking a little. She told me her name and that she lived in Kansas City. Her boyfriend left 2 months ago and she had not been able to make ends meet. She knew she wouldn't have money to pay rent January 1st and finally, in desperation, called her parents, with whom she had not spoken in quite a while. They asked her to move in with them and try to get her on her own feet there. So she packed up everything she owned in the car. She told the kids they were going to California. I gave her my gloves, a little hug, and said a quick prayer with her for safety on the road. As I was walking over to my car, she said, so are you like an angel or something? And this made me cry. I said, sweetie, at this time of year, angels are really busy, so sometimes God uses regular people. Isn't that a wonderful sentiment? Seriously. It was so incredible to be a part of someone else's miracle, and of course, you guessed it. When I got in my car, it started right away and got me home with no problem. I'll put it in the shop tomorrow to check, but I suspect the mechanic won't find anything wrong. So he is saying that God made that happen at that gas station because he was supposed to help that woman. Sometimes the angels fly close enough to you that you can hear the flutter of their wings. Psalm 55:22 says, cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. What a wonderful story. And let me tell you, I'm a firm believer in that you are in the places you're supposed to be. So I was at the corner gas station this one time, and I saw this woman and man sort of arguing, and I could kind of overhear, and they were talking about how they were traveling states away. And the woman, our eyes met, and so she comes over and she says, I really hate to ask this. I'm embarrassed to ask this, but we don't have enough money for gas, and we're almost out of gas, and we need to get to, I forget where she was going. And, you know, in that moment, I had plenty of money. I just filled up my tank, and I was like, she said, you know, could you spare a couple dollars? And I said, you know, I'll do you one better. I said, I'll put my card in like that guy did. I put my card in, and I said, just fill up your gas tank. And she just bust out crying like right there. And you know when people like, you know, I feel like you can tell when someone is genuinely in trouble. And I'll never forget, there's another story too. The day that I found out that I had had a mammogram and they found a lump, the day I found out I had to have a biopsy, I stopped at Walmart on the way home because I forget what I needed. And I was like in a daze because of hearing that. I had talked to my mom on the phone in the parking lot for a while, and I was just literally in a daze, in disbelief, about thinking like I might have cancer, right? So I'm in line at Walmart, and if you've ever been to Walmart, you know what I'm talking about, where it can just sap your strength, right? And I'm in the express line because I only had like 2 or 3 things, and the line is excessively long. And the people in front of me is a mother and a son. They're talking about the son is mad because he can't, something about his cell phone was messed up, or it seemed to me in the midst of what I was dealing with like an inane, ridiculous conversation. Well, I start to wonder why the line is being held up. Like, what the actual fuck? I just want to get out of this store, right? Well, the woman that's up there checking out, her card is declined. She's trying another card. She's having to put some stuff back. The woman in front of me who was irritating me, remember? She walked up to the front of that line and she paid for that entire woman's bill, which was, I don't know, but the woman had a lot of stuff. And you know, that gave me a different perspective on that woman. And then when they kept on talking, they didn't irritate me as much. It's amazing what your perspective is, but there are many, many generous people in the world like that. Bill has done that. I remember he was in Walmart doing something, buying something, and the woman in front of him was like short a quarter, and he just paid for her whole bill. I mean, if you have the ability, I wouldn't say obviously you do that all the time. I mean, that's crazy. But trust your instinct, trust your gut. And when you are able to do something like that, do it. You know what I mean? I think it's almost like that movie Pay It Forward, with Helen Hunt and Haley Joel Osment and Kevin Spacey. You just don't know the impact you can have on someone's day by doing something as simple as that. So I'm going to end this here so I can go have some lunch before they come back on the record. I still have about half an hour. So as always, I hope you guys have a great Thursday. As always, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section below. Oh, we're not done yet. We're not done yet. What am I doing? You guys are probably like, no, we got to know another little tidbit of how to unfuck ourselves this year. So today, this is an excellent one. I should probably frame this because we are all guilty of judging, right? The only person you should be judging is yourself. Right? Yeah. Easier said than done, but you're right. Imagine if you just all the time stayed in your own lane. Easier said than done for sure. Like it is very, very hard sometimes to put that into practice, but I will be thinking about that for the rest of the day. I know that. Okay, now you guys can go about your day. And thank you for watching and subscribing. And I will see you in tomorrow's video. Bye, guys.